Welcome back to FR UK Rugby, and if you appreciate the content here, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now, a lot of leagues around Europe are taking a month off now for international rugby, not in France and certainly not in Pro D2. Here is a roundup of all the action from week 8, starting with a top of the table clash. It was first place third, Montauban hosting Grenoble. And it was the visitors who started the brighter, and a third try of the season broke the deadlock from lock Georgi Javakia. Montauban's response came from close range as well, as the Packs battled for supremacy, and it was flanker Fred Quercy who made his way to the line. And that was the pattern established. Territory was precious, and the big men were converting that pressure into points. Grenoble with patience, and Javakia again with the try as Grenoble reclaimed the lead. Now, one key feature of Pro D2 is just how much emphasis is placed on the maul. And Montauban's rise to the top of the table has been partly through their success in that area. 13 men piling into this one, which saw hooker Kevin Furman level things up. And it was another identical setup which put the home side in control. Backs once again flying in to add the extra tonnage that would ultimately lead to an identical outcome. And when Thomas Fortunel nailed his third penalty, the result was looking a formality. But with the clock deep in the red, Grenoble managed to punch a third try of their own in from close range to claim a losing bonus point. 6 tries in the match, all from forwards, an arm wrestle of a game, and 2 excellent sides who could only be separated by 5 points on the day, but that was enough for Montauban to defend their position at the top of Pro D2. Biarritz were the team which separated Montauban from Grenoble before the weekend began. Could they continue their exploits at Soyaux-Angoulême? Well, it was the start Angoulême were after, when a bit of pure cheek from Ben Botica opened their account on 9 minutes, catching Biarritz's defence napping. Moments later, it was a Botica nudge behind enemy lines which caused chaos. Jules Dubec coming up with the score to open up a 14-0 lead. And when centre Mathis Lofan charged down and attempted Biarritz exit and managed to gather, well, it looked like it could be a romp. But Biarritz showed some of the resilience which got them into the top 2 in the table. Firstly, when Zach Kibarigi scored on his 3rd try in 2 games, getting on the end of a clever crossfield kick. Number 8 Taufa Fanua brought them back closer still, and then with 10 minutes to go, Charlie Matthews caught a line out, set up a platform which was only stoppable by illegal means, and Biarritz were now just 5 points behind. Ben Botica, though, managed to steady the Angoulême ship and wrap up the win with this effort and a personal haul of 23 points. Final score, 33-22. So Dax managed their first win in 4 last time out and travelled to Brive, hoping to keep that momentum going. And after an early penalty, they were on the offensive, getting the ball to Boucher on the outside, and his footballing skills, along with those of Maxime Altman, meant the fullback could help open up a 10-0 early lead. No Courtney Laws for Brive this week, but they did have another former British and Irish Lion in their back row. And it was Ross Moriarty who powered over from close range to pull Brive back within 3. But when Thomas Laranjera made a clumsy tackle on Bastien de Guerre just before half-time, when they already had one man in the bin, the odds looked stacked against Brive, more so when Cerisier punished the error with 3 points. But Brive's get-out-of-jail free card came in the form of their maul, splintering through Dax's pack. Marcel van der Merwe, the man at the bottom of the pile, to take the lead for the first time. There were still 10 minutes to survive though, and Moriarty having been stretchered off with a serious-looking injury, it was a rearguard action, but survive they did, just. A tough one for Dax to take, relief for Brive. Béziers then were without a win in October, 3 narrow defeats in a row, and they travelled to Oyonnax, who in classic French style had lost every away game but were unbeaten at home. But it took seconds for Béziers to start to buck that trend. Left winger Paul Rowe able to gather a loose ball and find his way to the line. But the reaction from Oyonnax was swift. Hooker Teddy Duron found his man at the back of the line out and then got hands on the ball to steer them all over for an equalising score. It was Durand who found himself with the ball on the left-hand touchline after a speculative kick from Darren Sweetenham, but it couldn't be gathered by Béziers. And after recycling the ball, it was flankers combining effectively and Kevin Le Breton putting Oyonnax in the lead. A key moment on 59 minutes when Béziers flanker Clément Anseli illegally cleaned out a ruck shoulder to head with the arm tucked, meant his day was done. But Béziers showed some steel. Firstly, Samuel Marquez getting them to bonus point territory. And then it could have been a win for Béziers at the death, but for a ball being spilt, which ended the contest and just extended Oyonnax's run of home victories. A battle in the bottom half of the table now as Aurillac went to Stade Montois. And this was another game where the league changed hands several times. Hooker Luca Niaradza took first blood for the visitors before a bit of deception and a deft kick allowed Fijian winner Ironi Sal to hit back on 5 minutes. And it was another clever kick which sent Gatien Mas through for a Stade Montois second. Aurillac were playing the game a little tighter and a second try from the front row union for them. Kiwi tight head Robertson McCoy barrelling over. And there was another flurry of tries around the hour mark. Firstly through Aurillac scrum half Michael Elania. And for the home side it was through Ioanni Iashagashvili. It was another Georgian who would give Aurillac an edge though. Their fullback Dashi Papanashvili had 18 points on the day, including 3 from this opportunity. Montois still had the chance to win at the end, and look what that goal line stand from Aurillac meant to their players as they claimed their 3rd win of the season and their 1st in a month. A belter. It finished 27 points to 33. So a win for the second bottom side. What could rock bottom Valence Roman do visiting Stade Niçois? Well, it was a sweeping backs move that put through Matthew Guillemot, and he fed his centre partner Louis Maroux for a perfect start for Valence, 7-0 after 2 minutes. Stade Niçois built pressure of their own, setting up camp in Valence's 22. Muscular phases and tight head prop Papuma converting ultimately. It took another 50 minutes for the next try. Valence Roman replacement Sven Guilando from close range. That try and a long range penalty from Joris Mora took the visitors beyond the one-score game. But Roman Riguet's 5th penalty gave us a grandstand finish. But ultimately, no comeback. Valence able to hold on for their 2nd victory of the season. It wasn't enough to take them off the foot of the table, but enough to keep them in touch with those above. To Nevers, who hosted Aix-en-Provence, a side that were buoyed by their win against Brive last round. And it was a bright start from the visitors. And when outside backs combined to get field position, and then Charlie Gambini showed some outrageous skills to pass off the deck. It was Jerome Defour who scored. It looked then like Provence's wagons were going to roll again. But this is where the try scoring for the day would end. Reynolds hitting 5 penalties for Nevers. Jimmy Gopeth able to get his side into bonus point range on 73 minutes. But it wasn't to be back-to-back victories for Provence, and Nevers able to hold on and take the spoils. And finally, Agen defending the Stade Ormandie against Colomiers. The conditions were wet and the early exchanges were tight. And it was number 8, Valentin Guéraud, who scored the game's first try from close range. It stayed at 13-7 until the final quarter, in fact, when things burst into life. Agen's replacement, Foto Lokatui, getting to the line, before replacement hooker Pierre Jauvin sealed the game for Agen. Two late scores for Colomiers was consolation. But not quite enough to claim a losing bonus point despite their efforts. The frustration from the visitors was clear at the final whistle. Well, another incredibly competitive round of games in week 8 of Pro D2. 6 of the 8 games within a score or less. Angoulême and Agen claiming the most comprehensive wins against highly rated opponents, meaning in the table Brive jumped back into the top 2 and Angoulême into 4th, but still just 4 points separating 2nd and 8th. And just as tight at the bottom, a significant win for Valence against Nice, meaning 4 of the bottom 5 won, meaning those above them are looking over their shoulders. Well, Colomiers will want to stop it being 4 games without a win against top of the table Montauban, the opener to week 9, which of course I'll be back to cover next week on FR UK Rugby.